A brand new trading week is set to kick off right behind me here at the New York Stock Exchange. And yes, investors are still trying to figure out exactly what direction will the markets be moving in, especially after last week's wild ride that got off to a bit of a rough start. Will we see more of the same losses from last week carry over, or will we see a bit of a rebound in the cards? Because last week did indeed get off to a slow start. Rising inflation concerns and a sell-off in tech pushed the tech-heavy Nasdaq to trade at its lowest level in 2 years. On top of that, investors digesting minutes from the September Federal Reserve meeting. The FOMC minutes show the central bank expected to keep hiking interest rates until it sees receding inflation, and inflation coming in a lot higher than expected in both the PPI and CPI reads last week. And now it's time to look ahead. Will we see more of the same? Let's now take a look at what will likely move the markets in the week ahead. Now, Monday kicks off first in Japan with the Japanese industrial production report for the month of August. Currently, that rate sits at 5.1%. Also due out 3-month and 6-month bill auctions here out of the United States. Tuesday kicks off in China with the Chinese retail sales figures and third quarter GDP figures on tap. Third quarter GDP currently sitting at negative 2.6% quarter over quarter, while retail sales are currently at 5.4%. And that will then be followed by U.S. September industrial production figures expected at negative 0.1%. Wednesday sees us kick off the session in the United Kingdom with British September consumer prices due out. Currently, that rate sits at 9.9%. Meanwhile, here in the U.S., it's all about housing. U.S. September building permits expected at 1.575 million, while September housing starts expected at 1.5 million. On Thursday, it's a bit of a busy session overseas. We kick off in Australia with the September unemployment rate due. The rate currently sits at 3.5% down under. Then it's off to China with the People Bank of China interest rate decision. That rate currently sits at 3.65%. And then on Friday, we kick off the week in the United Kingdom with September UK retail sales figures due out. Currently, that rate sits at negative 1.6% and negative 5.4%. Meanwhile, a new earnings season is here. Keep an eye on those headlines as they tend to move the markets traditionally and also paint a picture of the economy around them. Keep that in mind. And until next week, reporting live from the New York Stock Exchange, I'm James Swinney, reporting for ICM.